okay. You'll be okay. Well, I'll be okay. Everyone dies.
Every little thing is gonna be alright. Thanks for tuning in to 101.3 BKMG The Farce. Coming to you live from separate places, pre-recorded. Now presenting The Bane and Mickey Show.
Welcome back, everyone. Guess what, Gavin?
What, Kendall?
We have a guest today.
Oh my god, Tim Gunn is here?
Yeah, totally. I called him up. He lives next door, and he just popped over to join the...
Yeah.
No. We have someone cooler. Are you ready?
I am recording.
Wait, hold on, let me guess. Nathan Lane.
No.
Can't think of anybody cooler than that.
It's someone we've had on the podcast before, and they're here to talk about superheroes.
Oh, Kevin Smith.
Today we have Jordan Wilson back with us.
Oh yeah, he's fine.
Oh, you're talking about me. Oh.
Yeah, we're talking about you.
I thought it was Tim
Why?
Hi. Jordan, have you seen anything good
Welcome
recently?
back.
Hello. Thank you. What was that?
Have you seen anything good recently?
I did watch Bo Burnham's special the other day, finally. I've been waiting to watch that. Was trying to find some downtime, and it was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good and really funny. I was not entirely sure what to expect from it, but I was very pleasantly impressed and surprised with how the whole movie was.
It's equal parts humorous and sad and relatable. It's an hour and a half of pure Bo Burnham.
Absolutely. It's a lot to take in.
What have you been watching, Gavin?
I've only seen one thing, really. I've been pretty busy with other stuff, but I watched The Losers with Chris Evans and Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Zoe Saldana.
Oh, yeah.
It was like his last comic book role before Captain America.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually pretty good. He's super into this like little girl's soccer team because his niece plays on it, so he gets super intense about it.
Uh-huh.
And he almost fights a ref at the end. It's pretty awesome.
We love it.
It kind of reminded me of the A-Team.
Oh.
The one with Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper.
I haven't seen that in a while.
That's okay. What have you watched recently, Kendall?
I finally started watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I'm like
Finally.
a few episodes in. So, yeah, it's good. It's funny. Bucky and Sam are like the perfect dorky pair of dumbasses. So...
Move your seat up. No.
When they're arguing about, like, The Hobbit and shit, I'm just like...
I read it when it first came out.
Bucky regrets all of his life decisions now. He's just like, why am I here?
So was one of the big three. Androids, aliens, or wizards?
Wizards don't exist.
Doctor
Wizards
Strange.
absolutely
He's a
exist. No, he's a wizard. He doesn't have a wand, but he's a wizard. Somebody out there listening to this is gonna give me so much shit for that.
Well,
You're a wizard, Steven. What? You're a wizard.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what happened in Doctor Strange in the movie, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
no. I think
Yeah,
you're
if it
remembering that a lot differently.
Speaking of superheroes, though, but from a different universe. Today we're
Some could
back with
argue a
Jordan,
better
which
universe.
means we... maybe not necessarily in a cinematic sense. TBD.
But in every other sense, yes.
We're
here
to talk about the big,
Zack Snyder's
the epic,
Army of the Dead.
amazing. No.
I'm gonna leave if we're talking about that.
Today,
Just
Jordan
kidding.
watched the
I
wrong
was
movie.
lied to.
Spent 4 hours watching the wrong thing.
4 hours, you say? Impossible.
It could only mean one
Very
thing.
possible. The Tree of Life.
Look, that's only 2.5 hours.
Whatever.
Anyways, today we're going to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Pow, 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 pow. Oh, Zack Snyder's Justice League. A movie we never thought we would get.
Mm-hmm.
And after 4 or 5 years of relentlessly harassing executives and Warner Brothers, we did it, guys.
We did
We
it.
got the Snyder Cut.
It was just us three. We did
Hashtag
it.
restore the Snyderverse, please.
Yes. I second that emotion.
Before we get far into it, Gavin, you said yes to my question about wanting to explain the difference.
Well, I mean, we can talk about the differences, but essentially...
Not that difference, but the why are there two movies
there's
called
two,
the Justice
so,
League?
back in 2016, thereabouts, maybe even late 2015, Zack Snyder had to step away because his daughter died or killed herself. She's died.
Well,
I don't want to say she killed herself because I can't remember. Jordan might know.
I think that is
she,
what happened.
She passed
But
away.
she passed away.
Did.
So they hired. So Zack Snyder stepped away from Justice League, and then they brought in another director, Joss Whedon, to take over and finish the movie. What ensued was a lot of reshoots that pretty much changed the movie entirely. I would say anywhere from 50 to 80% of the released cut of Justice League was reshot or redone by Joss Whedon.
Some would call it a clusterfuck.
Yeah, and a mishmash of tones. Now, I remember when they initially said that it was going to be Joss Whedon, I was like, oh, cool, a team-up guy. He's done Avengers. He's got this. But he did not got this.
He don't got this.
If for no other reason than Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon are very opposite styles of movie and filmmakers, like Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder don't really mesh that well together in terms of what they try to do and what they've made previously.
And I feel like that's why why Warner Brothers wanted him on. Like, I don't know necessarily the whole story about how he got attached to that project, but just to me it feels like that's why he was on it, because he was the guy who did superhero team-ups before, and like Warner Brothers wanted something very opposite from what we had been getting with Snyder's stuff. And so they're like, well, who can do it? Okay, this guy, we want exactly what he did, so let's bring him on.
And I mean, I agree that that's a reason, and honestly not the worst reason to bring him on, but also if you look in terms of what Snyder was setting up and what he planned to do after, had, say, they continued with whatever Zack Snyder was going to do afterwards, it doesn't fit. Now you could also make the argument that WB wanted to take it in a whole ass new direction, which you actually really get after this Justice League with Aquaman, Wonder Woman 2. I think those are the only ones that really have come out so far.
Shazam.
In that
Shazam, yeah.
Shazam is the only one that actually is fit in that new tone, for me at least.
Mm-hmm.
Shazam was fun.
In the more Marvel-y, MCU type humor hero movies.
Yeah.
Shazam's the only one that actually fit that pretty well. Aquaman does a pretty good job mixing it, but it's also still a James Wan movie, which works. And Wonder Woman 1984 was not the best.
No, it wasn't.
I still haven't watched it.
It's okay. So, I mean, and then now we have all these years later gotten the Zack Snyder version thanks to many petitions and complaining and wanting from all the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Bless all the people complaining and yelling at WB
and just Zack
for
Snyder
years.
being able to come back and create what he originally intended.
And being willing to do it. And, you know, essentially, a lot of it was already there. There was some things that were reshot in VFX that was done professionally. But to be fair, even if they had released a non-professional version, I still would have watched it.
Yeah.
I will never forget when they actually announced that. I was in the bedroom and I just saw it on my phone and I just screamed out, "Holy shit, no way!" And Hannah comes into the room and she's like, What's going on? Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, Zack Snyder's making the Justice League. He's finishing it. And she's like,
okay, buddy. Pat, pat, pat.
She's like, what
walks out of the
room.
room.
Talking about? She had no idea what I was talking about. She hasn't seen any of the DC movies, I think, besides maybe Superman, Man of Steel, 2013. But She had no idea what I was talking about, so I was like, be excited, please.
I don't need you to understand. I just want your support.
Yeah. Well, let's just get into it. And I mean, I guess initial thoughts. It's definitely better than
It's better than the one we
than
got.
the other one.
It is substantially better.
It's more consistent. I love it. It reminds me of the Justice League cartoons.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
early 2000s.
so Jordan, I watched Justice is Gray. I don't know if you have watched that version
I have not
yet.
watched Justice is Gray yet.
It's very pretty. And it's very nostalgic for like really old like superhero like movies and TV shows, basically because it's black and white. But also it's just very comic booky in like a lot of the shots and kind of like the gradients and the contrasts. It's very pretty. But it does have a lot of nostalgia, and I don't know. You just get a lot more content and like knowledge about everyone that like helps move the story, like important stuff that they just kind of rushed over.
Yeah, Cyborg actually gets fleshed out this time.
Yeah.
And then, you get a better Cyborg, a better Steppenwolf.
We're not just adding in characters with no information on them. It's like, here's a character, but here's some backstory without making a movie for 2 hours about them. But here's 30 to 45 minutes about them.
Yeah, the movie may be like substantially longer, and it is. I would say it's kind of not. I don't want to say a drag, but it's definitely something that you gotta like set aside a good chunk of time to watch if you're gonna watch the whole thing in one go, like I did.
I also did that.
But
Well, the nice thing about it, though, so I watched it the first time in one go. When I watched it again, I kind of broke it up into parts. And, I mean, it still actually holds pretty nicely, even if you watch it in parts. And that's the other nice thing is it's broken up into 7 different parts.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to watch it all at once. Mostly because they were going to do that mini-series beforehand.
Yeah.
But, we get an extended Steppenwolf backstory. We get a better Cyborg backstory. Better motivations for both characters. And my 2 chiefest complaints are Wonder Woman's music that plays every single time she's on screen.
Look, it's called a character theme.
Yeah, but her character theme is so much better because it would do the weird ancient one and then which is way better. And then, she just needs a freaking hair tie because her hair's all over the place.
Well, she does wear like her hair tied back when she's not Wonder Woman, like when she's just like chilling.
Where
blah,
Wonder
blah.
Woman?
And I feel like it's kind of just an Amazonian thing, because all of them are like that. They're just like, hey, we're women, we're badasses, and we're gonna let our hair down, even though
It's so dangerous.
it is
she
dangerous.
has the lasso of truth. They don't have like the hair tie of truth or something she can put on.
Who knows? I will say though,
boy.
the intro for the extended intro is like really haunting, and like like it has some fairly important context, especially as like a previously on or like a refresher as to what is happening in the DC universe. Because when I watched this, I definitely have not seen any of the other DC films for a long time, and so some of it's like, oh right, that's what happened, kind of thing. It's nice.
And I will say also, yes, 4 hours is a long time. Do I regret watching it that many twice now? No. But is there also probably like a really good like 3.5 hour cut of this? Yeah, probably.
But we don't need it. Let's just keep this one.
Not saying we need it, but
I will also say that the intro establishes a really good like dark and grisly like Gotham kind of the dark side of DC that you don't necessarily get in like Marvel or specifically the original Justice League.
Yeah, it's really interesting just to like examine just the beginnings of the 2 cuts, because they're just so drastically different. Like, yeah, we knew they were going to be different in general, but just like watching them, it's really weird to see just how much of a tonal shift that the theatrical cut went for.
Yeah,
it's nuts. And the Superman intro they go with doesn't even make sense with the rest of the movie. I feel like, I don't know, but I mean, you're right, Jordan. Honestly, it also just shows the difference between Whedon and Snyder as filmmakers.
Yeah,
Whedon is more going for the humanity / laughs. Zack Snyder's more like darkness, no parents, really rich. kind of makes it better.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
no, they do just both have different tones and styles as filmmakers, and so it's like it, especially in, I would say, the Batman side of DC, which this is kind of like, I mean, this movie is like, well, Batman's leading the gang, so I wouldn't say it's from his perspective, and it's not necessarily just his story, but he is recruiting them, and so like having that kind of dark, brooding aesthetic is like a, oh, we get it, Batman is here.
I will say that while it is more of a Batman story, it sort of shifts perspectives between like being Batman, Steppenwolf's, and
Uh-huh.
Cyborg's story,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just think if it was more unified,
Yeah.
like when they were doing Infinity War and they were like, who, if you like, Thanos is the protagonist of that story, you know, it's about him and it's mainly in his perspective. If it's more Steppenwolf or if it's more Batman or it's more Cyborg.
Yeah.
I mean, though, I would say it still balances out pretty well and doesn't feel too
Well, and I would almost say
Mm-hmm.
like the
anything.
beginning is very Batman, the middle is more Steppenwolf, and then the end is kind of like Cyborg if you had to
Yeah.
like divide it fairly evenly with like little bits of each throughout, but like
Hmm. We also get like a mini Cyborg movie in this whole
this
thing.
is true. This is
Yeah.
true. Which,
Yeah.
well, we'll get there, I guess. Yeah. Should we start just with part 1 then?
Well,
Sure.
I
Go
would
through all of
want
it?
first. I want to answer the question: better or worse? Now we're saying mostly better, but my argument is it only perceived as better because we've seen the alternative, or is it actually a good movie?
I actually enjoy this movie, which is surprising because I don't enjoy a lot of the DC movies that have come out, especially the newer verse of them. And I actually enjoyed this one. I don't know if it's because it's not just brushed off and it's not just all jokey and like no context kind of thing. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And maybe that's because I was watching it in black and white, like it's supposed to be seen. But no, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. It's because it's shot and edited and told in a very artistic way. It's not just for the studios. It's not just for the franchises. It's a piece of art because Zack Snyder loves the characters and the stories and the world and the wants to bring the comics essentially to life, which did a good job of doing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say objectively it is a good film. It's nothing like incredible. It's not the Avengers. It's not the Dark Knight. It's nothing that's gonna like, stand above the rest other than just because of the crazy fan following it had for so many years. But objectively, it is a good movie, and I do think it is just better than what we the theatrical cut, because the theatrical cut just cut so much out and was trying to stitch things back together as best it could. But
Yeah.
this is what the movie was supposed to be, and we finally got it, and it's good. It's not perfect by any means, but it's not bad either. It's perfectly good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm falling on it. I really like it, and especially if you were to stack it up with the Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, then this Justice League. You see the complete story. All the characters work really well, and you see Zack Snyder's vision and his through line,
Yeah.
which I think is the biggest thing DC's missing in terms of trying to make a cinematic universe.
There's
They don't have
there's very little
they
connection.
don't have a Kevin
Yeah.
Feige,
Yeah.
and obviously not Kevin Feige specifically, but they don't have like anybody that's sort of in charge of the overarching universe that they're trying to inhabit. They're just sort of like filmmaker, whatever. Here you go.
Yeah, and then
And,
there's no
Zack Snyder was
connecting like
like
timelines
that.
and storylines until you get this movie. And then you're like, "Oh, they do all live in the same universe, apparently."
And like Zack Snyder would have been a really good person to have for that. Someone like James Gunn, even Kevin Smith, potentially, but just somebody who loves those characters and wants to play around in that universe.
Yeah.
I would say Greg Berlanti, but he's pretty much dominating television right now, so he's probably a little busy.
My question for the film is, would it have been better or different or worse if it was cut into like a mini series with like the parts just being released as like 45-minute kind of episodes?
I think it would have suffered. Honestly, it doesn't feel that long in a
It doesn't.
4-hour time span. I feel like it moves along pretty quickly for being 4 hours long.
Well, and then in a way, having these parts divided in the movie gives it kind of like a classic or homage kind of feel. Very much like the only specific I could think of was like Wes Anderson and how he splits his films into parts in a very specific way. But there was a movie that I was thinking of that I can't remember. But like there are, I feel like it's a movie that came out fairly recently too. But it does work to have these like bookmarks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely, I think the movie probably would have suffered a little bit, when it first came out, or when it would have came out as a series. I think, there's tons of people like myself and who would have just watch it all the way through in that one sitting. So
it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made too much of a difference, but I can also see, people watching an episode or two and then, in between the breaks or the chapter breaks, they're like, what? It's the episode's ended. I'm gonna go do something else for the night. I'll come back to it tomorrow or in a week or whatever. I think having it as one whole coherent film and just have these chapter breaks in the movie, I think that was the right call to make. I think doing it as a series would have, or as a mini series would not have been the right choice to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, honestly, with any director's cut, they're going to be closer to 3 or 4 hours long. That's just how director's cuts work. And the people watching the director's cuts are the ones that actually care and will sit down for all of it too. So people who complain about it being 4 hours long, I'm just like, they're just not true artisans. They don't care. They don't.
And even if you're going to complain about the length, they put breaks in it.
Yeah.
So it's not like,
so you can take a break.
You're not even waiting for like, okay, is now a good moment for me to go? They give you whenever you're like, 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah. It's perfect. All right.
But yes, let's deep dive into the Snyder Cut.
Deep dive. Part 1. Don't count on it, Batman.
Don't count on it, Batman.
Bum, 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 bum.
Can I just say, some of the chapter titles are just so bad.
They're a little cheesy. Uh-huh.
You couldn't have just gone part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Kill Bill. That's the movie I was thinking of. That splits it into parts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyways, okay.
This is where Batman meets Aquaman.
It is. And I actually enjoyed the like extra content we get of the little town, because it's like the first, in the other one you're like, okay, this is kind of, I don't know, this is weird and fine, but you're actually like, oh, this is a cute little quaint, like kind of haunting little establishment. And
Yeah.
they're kind of almost culty, which I love, in a good wholesome cult way, But
And the other thing is it expands on the introductions of especially Aquaman and the Flash and, Cyborg, who we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Or who we wouldn't have seen previously to this, so we're actually getting, character moments like Aquaman. Yeah, he doesn't care about the surface, doesn't care about the ocean, but we also see that he wants to care about those things.
Yeah.
He's just being kind of a dick.
Mm.
It's like, I care, but also I'm too cool to care.
Yeah.
Man.
Or like
Yeah.
I said, there's like these really important kind of like heart-filling moments. Like Batman and Aquaman have this like talk as they're going down to the harbor, and you're like, wait, when did this happen before? But okay. And then
That actually did happen.
which one? Not all of it. Because then he just kind of goes into the water, and you're like, and you're like, oh, okay, bye.
But listen,
But then you
I'm
also
not going to complain about extra shirtless Jason Momoa. So.
Hey, they kept the one shot that I was hoping they would in the Snyder Cut, because when they said, there's not going to be any shots from Joss Whedon's cut in the Snyder Cut, I was like, okay, as long as they keep the one slow-mo shot of Jason Momoa just chugging a bottle of whiskey and chucking it on the ground, I'll be happy. And Oh, bless! It was a Snyder shot.
Yes. And you see, like, my favorite part is when the slow mo shot between when they're fight. We'll get to it later with the fight with Superman,
There's some really
and I
good
was glad
slow
that
mo
stayed.
shots. Yeah.
But you also see that everything Joss Whedon put in was crap.
Yes.
Not gonna
We also
complain.
get a really good Wonder Woman intro. And just,
Well, we don't get a Wonder Woman intro,
but like,
really. We get. Oh, no, you're right. You're right.
but we also just get really good Amazon or Amazonian intros. Like,
They're much
probably
more
the
badass
most
than this
content we've gotten, other than 84, which gave you kind of like dumb content. But like, you get some really good content about the badass women that are the Amazons. So
one. And Steppenwolf actually kicks some ass.
also
Steppenwolf was a good character in this movie. Actually,
Yeah.
I gave a shit about him. I wasn't just like, oh, he's the bad guy. It's like, oh no, this is a person
Yeah.
who's got some
Right.
shit going on.
And he's much more threatening and foreboding and scary.
He's
And
so powerful that you're just
His
like,
design
oh
is
shit.
so cool in this movie.
But like also getting into some of the differences, like in the Justice Cut, he's basically taking over the dark side role.
Uh-huh.
And in this one, he's just like, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. Please let me go home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin was saying he's more sad that more horses died than Amazons, and I agree. Save the horsies, But
It's a good point. I don't give a fuck about them Amazons. Don't hurt those horses, man.
it's all about the horses. I
You
just
can make more Amazons.
I just wanted to quote Alfred for a second.
You can make more horses.
Yeah, but you can't. Yeah, but the Amazons are choosing to fight.
The
They're
horses
dragging
aren't
these
choosing to
horses
fight.
into
The
it.
horses are just there. They didn't choose this lifestyle. To quote
Just
Alfred
thrust
for a
upon them.
second, maybe a man who broods in a cave for a living isn't cut out to be a recruiter. And, same.
And also, this movie's still funny.
It
Like,
is
it has
still
the right
funny.
amount of
It
humor.
was.
It has good.
There's-
It does. And
not
from the right
extraneous.
people too. It's like, well, most of them.
Yes.
But like, like Alfred is the one who's like, why am I being brought into this? Now that you have your
Flash is
now that you
still
have your little
funny.
team, like, can I go home? And yeah, Flash is still doing his thing.
And like Batman can be funny, but not every other sentence.
Right. He that's
Get
not
over
what he's supposed to do.
That was the one thing about Snyder's or about just Joss Whedon's cut that I was like, okay, this is maybe not exactly the way it should have been done, but this is good. It was just that Batman was super dark, and he gave him some like comedic elements, which I do think he did or Whedon went overboard with it, but it was like, here's this really, really like dark, brooding character who just never wants to like lighten the fuck up ever, which he does constantly in the comics and in any other iteration of Batman. He does make a joke every once in a while.
He's trying to
And-
cover up for the dark brooding.
Yeah.
And
They're like, if
especially
he gets
with-
too dark and brooding, they'll realize that they'll realize who my secret identity. They'll like realize I'm Bruce Wayne.
And then also with the brooding thing, like this Batman is basically relearning to lighten up.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
he's been pretty much dead inside until the point where he meets Superman and Batman v Superman,
And then he
and
meets
now
Flash.
he's sort of just reopening up. And Cyborg doesn't make like any jokes this whole time, which is I like because Cyborg's just got such a shitty time the whole movie,
Uh-huh.
which is pretty consistent with his character, especially in the New 52 rendition where he's made from Mother Box.
Hmm.
And it was not he lightens up later on, but initially he's just like fuck the world.
Rightly so. We get a really nice like extended intro for Lewis, which is just sad. It's just sad, but beautifully sad. But kind of takes a moment to like establish that
Who was
Yeah.
Lewis?
for
Lois?
Lois Lane.
Oh, Lois. I think
Yeah.
he said
I
Lewis.
thought you said Lewis too.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
she actually was around because
Yeah.
in the Joss Whedon's cut, she was only
She like
really
appears to get Superman and then is gone.
yeah, and that's more or less it, right?
Yeah,
Other than I
pretty
think
much.
maybe like one or two other
But she
scenes.
actually like has like some character to her, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, someone cared about Superman.
I mean, I feel like she did, but I feel
someone's
like
mourning really hard.
my complaint about Lois in this movie is that like all she did was just be sad about Superman
Yeah.
Yeah.
and didn't do much else.
Personally, I never really did like Amy Adams as Lois Lane. She just
Yeah.
never really rung it for me.
I liked her in Man of Steel. I feel like she was really good in Man of Steel and then just sort of fell into Superman's love interest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Jordan, have you been watching Superman and Lois on CW?
I haven't watched the whole show. I've been watching clips every so often online. It looks really good, surprisingly, for a
It's
CW
actually
show.
really good quality. You should check it out. I think you'd like it.
I think I'm gonna start
And
watching it.
the one thing that they do in that show is they have Lois. The one thing I liked about Amy Adams' Lois was that she figures out who Clark is, and I like they made her not stupid. But in Superman and Lois, she doesn't figure out that Superman is Clark until he tells her. But also, she falls in love with Clark and not Superman, which I also really liked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, you know, she's more into Clark than she is into Superman, which I think is a nice departure because it seems in it, like in all the other ones, she only cares about Superman. Not that she doesn't like Clark, but it's more about Superman than it is about Clark.
Mhm.
So it just made their relationship better for me.
Shall we continue to part 2?
Part 2, The Age of Heroes.
We get a lot of kind of backstories for a lot of people in this one.
This is when Jordan gets his favorite shot in the whole movie.
I would
With,
also
the
say
whiskey bottle.
some of my favorite
looks so
shots,
cool.
which happen to be
It just looks so cool when he's walking. He's just drinking. And he just throws it on the ground and walks into the fucking sea. It's like, oh, that looks
agree.
so cool.
I would say also the necessary slow motion hair with like the sea waves, like yeah, you know, so necessary for like 5 shots of it, you know. And then he's
I
like
just
swimming
looked
through the
at-
water all slow mo, and you're like, yes, this is the Aquaman we all wanted.
I just looked it up. It says, according to IGN, around 10% of the movie is in slow motion.
That's accurate,
Listen.
and you know they're all very necessary slow motion parts. Let
But
me
they're
tell
all
you.
useful slow. Listen, I'd say of that 10%, you could count
5% of
1
it
to
is
2%
is
gratuitous.
Flash.
Yeah.
And you could say the other 1 to 2% is maybe gratuitous, but I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah.
We also get Ryan Choi,
Uh-huh.
the second person to be Adam. Desaad, who's another
didn't-
one of Darkseid's disciples.
I didn't catch the Atom, actually, the first time I watched it. I saw that online.
hmm Honestly, I only caught it because on the CW they had Osric Chow play Ryan Choi,
Mm.
and they talked about him becoming the Atom. So, to be fair, that's the only reason I knew it.
We also get this is where we get the cyborg backstory, which is actually really helpful compared to the Joss Whedon cut, where you're literally just like, here's cyborg, and then you're like, okay, but we know nothing about him except this car crash that they keep mentioning, but only like very vaguely.
Yeah, but who cares?
But they mention it like 10 times, and you're like, okay, we'll stop mentioning 2 words with no other context. But we get
David
actual good
Thewlis
stuff.
back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. David Thewlis comes back temporarily as Ares.
Mm-hmm.
He also played Lupin in Harry Potter.
Yes.
We get a Green Lantern. Not the Green Lantern I would have preferred, but I'll take something.
Yeah. Well, I think there was actually supposed to be a more Green Lantern, but I think they cut that from the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, they made it Martian Manhunter instead
Ah.
of
Yeah.
Green Lantern. Because Zack Snyder even had somebody cast. I just don't remember his name.
I think the Martian Manhunter timeline though, and like really helps add to the what's coming next sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
More
Oh, yeah.
more so than I think
just-
Green Lantern would have helped bring that along.
We also get sort of the extended backstory for Steppenwolf and Darkseid
Mhm.
and the invasion of Earth, which in the Joss Whedon cut is only Steppenwolf, and seems like it's all his idea to invade, and that's just how he do,
Yeah.
and not Darkseid, and like he's not just Darkseid's bitch. Which he is.
I
He's
liked
the muscle.
how when they actually did show Darkseid in the the war flashback. Like the movie really earned its R rating in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Like as soon as all the blood started flying, I was like, "Whoa, shit! This is very violent."
Part 3. Beloved
mother, beloved son.
We
We
get
finally get Iris.
we do. We also get a
after
really
all
good
these
Barry.
years.
I
Yes.
love Ezra Miller
better
as
Barry.
the Flash. Obsessed.
Me too.
Can't wait for the movie.
Yeah, I did not like him in in Joss Whedon's cut, but
I
this cut I
don't-
actually was
See, I
really
didn't
into
hate
it.
him in Joss Whedon just because I liked Ezra Miller, like as
Mhm.
an actor, and I was like, he's doing, he's doing what he can do, but I didn't like the writing for it, definitely.
No.
Mm.
The thing, though, that sucks about the Flash movie is they're putting too much Batman in it.
Yeah,
That's my problem, is they're doing it's too much Batman. You can do a Flash movie without as much Batman as they're throwing in. Now, maybe it'll be more time travel multiversey, and there won't be as much Batman as it seems like they're teasing.
Well, it's
Fine,
supposed to
whatever.
be Flashpoint, if I recall correctly.
Man, then bring in Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Batman.
I think it's
Ooh.
Michael Keaton. That's the whole rumor or something. Like nothing. There hasn't been anything other than just set photos of him. But I don't think it's
Oh.
been confirmed that he is like
Listen,
playing
there's
Thomas
nothing
Wayne
wrong,
Batman.
and I love that Michael Keaton's coming back. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan's sitting right there. He
I
played it in
would.
Batman v Superman.
Yes.
I'm sad that we're not going to get the return of Billy Crudup, though, as his dad.
Uh-huh.
'Cause I love Billy Crudup. But we're getting Ron Livingston, so I guess I can Livingston with that.
We get some we get some extensions to Barry and Batman, which is just great because they're so dumb, but it's amazing.
What's your superpower again?
I'm
Rich.
Yeah. Can I keep this?
I also like that Ben Batfleck is the first one to use a voice modulator instead of just
Yeah.
deepening his
Mhm.
voice.
Oh, and yeah, and it's really, you can tell too, which is, it's kind of refreshing.
He's not just like, I'm Batman.
He's not killing his vocal cords.
Alfred, I need some tea. My
Speaking
vocal cords are shot.
speaking of tea, we get to learn the proper British ways of tea from Alfred, the man himself. Very important.
I'm not
Whatever
even mad that
whatever
I'm
they
not
were
even mad
doing
that-
in Amazon is incorrect, according to Alfred.
10% of his screen time is just like, I'll make tea or I'll teach you how to make tea.
Yeah, he's like, I'll get the kettle
I ain't
going.
even mad about it.
Can I just say too, Jeremy Irons, what a great casting
Oh,
choice
yeah.
for Alfred. Like in either film,
It's
he's
like
great.
the perfect
Obviously,
amount of proper British and cynical, like, butler.
Yeah, like
But also
Michael Caine.
slightly a dick.
Michael
Yeah.
Caine was fantastic, but I really liked seeing Jeremy Irons because he was like, he was older, but he wasn't like, super old, like how Alfred is supposed to be. He's like, I'm an old
Yeah.
dude, but like I can still mess around. I can still do stuff. I was in the military.
He
like,
could
I work
probably
on
still beat up
cars.
a, he could go all, like, martial arts on you, and you'd be like,
Well, a lot of the new iterations of Alfred have him a bit younger than like the
Mhm.
old man butler type.
Mhm.
There's, I think it's a Batman Year One comic that came out a few years ago, where he's probably like, 50 to 60, and he's a war veteran, and he kind of kicks Batman's ass.
Yeah.
which is what
So-
Batman needs sometimes.
And I'm very interested and excited to see Andy Serkis play Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, why is Mira suddenly British? What's up with that?
Yeah. But I will say, J.K. Simmons just makes his way around the superhero worlds, Just
I'm
Doing-
just so sad we're not going to get any
doing
more
whatever he
J.K.
likes.
Gordon
yeah.
or Ben Affleck solo movie.
If we thought the
Yeah.
multiverses were complicated, then J.K. Simmons came in. All right, part 4, Change Machine. It's half the film, but we got everyone We got everyone.
Finally.
We got the whole
2 hours
gang.
later, except for, the Superman.
Yeah.
But we're all here.
Which by this time, the Joss Whedon cut was over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which kind of is like kind of makes you just laugh at the Joss Whedon one because you're like, oh, that was kind of rushed.
And we get, the rest of Cyborg's backstory into how he became more robotic. We get Steppenwolf's
the whole
motivation. We see
the whole
Darkseid's
anti-life
ultimate plan.
I was saying
Also, I'm pretty sure it was World War One, not World War Two.
It was with the Nazis.
The Nazis were in World War One too, Kendall.
Not well, yes, but not to the same intensity.
You don't know.
I don't know, but either way, all these like flashes of Cyborg like doing his little like information dives are like really cool, but then also like sad because he's not Cyborg in them. He's just Victor. He's like, because you're like, this is the only place he can be himself, like be himself, and you're just like, oh, buddy.
It's all right, little buddy. And we get Martian Manhunter.
We do.
One of my favorite DC superheroes.
I was honestly
in a
pretty
really
surprised.
dramatic introduction too.
Yeah, I was surprised he played the general from Man of Steel was Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Well,
okay, he's. I mean,
said
like,
it like 2 years ago.
well, I didn't know that.
That's the only reason I knew. It's because I remember an interview where he talked about it.
We get this really beautiful shot at the end of this part where they're talking about bringing Superman back, and it's like a circling camera shot, but like, Council of Elrond, like 5 people talking, like track the sightlines kind of thing, and it's just it's so pretty. And so
5 friends discussing a little necromancy.
That's just me on a Tuesday, Gavin. Me and Jack and 3 other people on a Tuesday.
Are the other 3 people you 2 had previously brought back to life?
Probably.
That makes sense.
Do they have
And then
godlike
Tina.
powers?
It's me, myself, Jack, himself, and Tina. And we're bringing back another version of Tina. Anyways, part 5, All the King's Horses, which actually is probably one of the better titles for the parts, just because it's a funny reference. But
We get the resurrection of the Superman.
and they actually take their time in doing it too. It's not just like here's the plan, boom, whoa, he's back. It's like no, we're gonna take 30 minutes to go through this plan and then make sure it happens.
How long this was?
Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed the extension of that. Alfred's, what could possibly go wrong? Me just being like, 2 hours.
Everything.
2 hours could go wrong. That's
Alfred,
not
over.
A whole movie's worth could go wrong.
And the Superman resurrection scene really, like, Batman's like whole arc in the film really kind of shined through, at least for me in this moment in particular, because in Whedon's cut it was like he knows that there's a threat coming and he's trying to get everybody together because he knows like Darkseid's coming.
And he also,
but in this cut,
it's just like, I can't, you're like, oh, you're weak. Like, he's just like, I'm weak, I can't do it. Like,
yeah.
we need
but in
Superman.
this cut it's like he doesn't know that there's something happening. He just like is getting these people together for this threat.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's also trying to like, repair the damages that he caused with that, because, he didn't necessarily kill Superman, but he also kind of is, feels responsible for the death of Superman.
Yeah. And in this version, it's a lot more him doing it for himself, whereas in Whedon's version, it's a lot of him doing it for his like, for everyone's interpretation of him, because it's like, well, I gotta make it right so that they don't think terribly of me, sort of thing. But in this, it's I gotta make it right for myself, like for me to feel better. I think it's also the extension of this whole resurrection makes it a lot more like heartfelt, and like important as to like bringing back Superman and restoring that legacy and like restoring all the heroes. Like it's not just like we got to do this. It's like it's a very like good like it memoriam almost to like Superman died, but we're fixing that.
Yeah, and I don't remember the line exactly, but I remember, when they were saying, do we really want to do this? Like, are we going to do it? And Batman's just like, do it. We're doing this. Like, this is happening. Like, just shut up and do it. Like, because he really needed to bring him back and right that wrong, which I was like, wow, that's so much better characterization.
Well, and then the whole thing where they're like, do it, but then half of them are like, no, don't do it, and then Barry's like, did he say do it? And then it's like,
no.
Do it. Laura?
It's like, wait.
Laura?
Yeah.
Laura!
And it's like oh no, they're fighting.
But the Justice Cut is just like bam, 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 bam. Something happens, we're moving on.
They only had 2.5 hours. They had to get through it.
But they don't get through it very well. It's like most rushed. Like it's like a very rushed movie adaptation of a book,
Yeah.
My only problem about this film is, and I guess kind of what they've tried to do with the DC universe is that like maybe not intentional. I mean, I guess that there's always been like a comparison between DC and Marvel, and like who's better, whatever. But like this movie is almost just like very similar to Endgame and Infinity War. It's just like but obviously it was being made like originally made before and during those two movies, so it's not like it's a copy or anything. But
had it come out when planned, we'd be saying
Endgame
War and Endgame is like Justice League.
Yeah.
Just because it came first.
It's true. But I will say
we'd probably be talking about part 2 as well.
Yeah. The quote, so begins the end, to me was stated almost exactly the same as we're in the end game now. And I'm just like, why? What movie am I watching?
Then, we get Superman using his super speed, which you never see him use. We get the death of Silas Stone, Victor's dad, which actually has emotional impact.
Yeah, that was actually like super sad.
Well, in the Justice League, in the theatrical cut, they don't even do that.
Yeah.
He's still alive at the end. But in this, it's sort of the perfect end for his character and his story, and the perfect way to propel Victor forward.
Yeah. We officially hit the climax because now Steppenwolf has all 3 boxes, Superman has come back, and it's time to fight.
And we still have an hour
Let's
to go.
Get it on.
Part 6, Something Darker. Whoa, such an original title. Oh my god.
Great job, Zach.
Meanwhile, back on the farm.
Yes, Clark goes back to the farm. And then Lois makes the stupid decision to put a shirt on him like an idiot.
I actually enjoyed that they took their time with him on the farm, and it wasn't just like yeah, Mom, I gotta go back. It's like he's actually struggling to like decide if he's gonna go back or not. And you're like, yeah, it wasn't like he was just like, boom, they brought me back, I'll go back. I'm mad at Bruce. Punch.
He's very much like, I'm alive. Like, why am I alive?
Yeah,
should
why am I here?
Alive?
Do I even want to go back? I should go back. Should I go back? I don't know. But Lois.
But then, you also see him struggling with being made alive again.
Yeah.
And, trying to sort of regain his identity. And Lois sort of helping him with that. Which reminded me of something we didn't mention in one of the earlier parts. There's a pregnancy test in one of Lois's drawers.
Oh
yeah.
Is she pregnant with a super baby?
Alien baby?
Maybe.
What?
I don't know if you guys know, but Zack Snyder, he did actually talk more about like what the original plan was going to be. And I think he said in Justice League 3, because that's when they kind of catch up to the like injustice part of the whole background story. And it was going to be... It was going to be their son becomes the new Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
remember
remember if
that.
he said like he has powers or not. I'm assuming he doesn't, but yeah, he was supposed to
He's
become
just
the new
rich.
Batman. He's just rich.
Let's see. Oh, and then when Bruce says that he works for Alfred, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to see Alfred getting some
Right?
recognition
Yeah.
for the OG badass he is.
Pay your
Butler.
and people that do everything for you and make
Pay your
stuff for you.
lifelong
And
fatherly
fix your
figure
stuff
friend.
and heal your wounds and make you tea. God damn it!
And we get the black frickin' suit. The frickin'
God, it
black
was
suit.
so sweet looking.
We actually finally have a plan. I connected with this sentence a lot. Thank you,
You know,
Barry
from never
Allen.
having a plan.
Yeah.
Ever.
And then finally we get into the big battle. There's
Aquaman dropping a building on a parademon.
we get this like
My man.
car chase with Batman and the Batmobile and all the parademons, and it kind of gave me my like Mad Max vibes. Like I was like, what is happening? But you know, it's fine.
I'm so glad.
It's also like, where is everyone else at this point? But there was also, it was way earlier in the movie where Barry was like, yeah, together, guys. Because they're all just like off doing their own thing. And I'm like, yeah, great team you put together, Batman. Everyone's just fighting their
I'm
own.
so glad they got rid of that ugly red color grade though.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
God, it
It's
looks.
because it doesn't fit.
It looks so much better.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Barry actually does something in the final fight that is useful and helpful.
Instead of just
Not
making
just
jokes.
saves a random family.
Oh
Gotta
my
break
god.
the
making
one rule,
jokes
Barry.
and-
You gotta break it now.
Being useless.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you know, he gets some moral dilemma and frickin' time travels. And that time travel effect is sweet.
Yes.
It is. We also
He
get
does look like an idiot when he runs in slow motion. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
but, I mean, I've never seen a good...
Anyone would.
I think it's more accurate in terms of how you'd probably run if you ran that fast and someone looked at you in slow motion.
Yeah.
Not like...
It just looks
Like
weird.
on Smallville, when they do it, they just look like they're doing this.
I think Smallville had like nowhere near the amount of money they did though.
This is
I
true.
mean, I agree with you, but I'm just saying it looks better than, you know, running full sprint like this is better than like, and I'm moving fast.
You gotta do the head
Hey,
bobble
guys.
too. Side to side.
What's up? I'm super speeding along. Hello, cars.
And then the epilogue.
They freaking win. Steppenwolf gets a epic and brutal beatdown and death.
Mm-hmm.
He gets full on beheaded.
Oh, we get a really
And it is
beautiful
awesome.
final shot of just the lineup of heroes. It's really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty ending.
Boom.
It honestly, it was really interesting too, just to see like the shots that were actually Snyder's in in Joss Whedon's cut, and like what has changed. Because like in that shot in particular, you know, in Whedon's cut, the I almost said the helicarrier, but like the Batwing comes up, but in this cut it isn't there at all.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
And then like when Wonder Woman's first on the bridge, she's alone in Whedon's cut, and in the other one she has Aquaman and Cyborg there. And pretty much that whole like ending to that battle is pretty much the whole battle is totally different, start to finish.
Well, because the battle in Whedon's cut was I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, maybe more than that. I don't know exactly. I'm probably getting it wrong. But then in Whedon's cut, it was like a full hour of the film. I'm pretty
All
sure.
the way around.
Mm-hmm.
You just said Whedon twice, but yeah.
Snyder, thank you.
But yes, definitely. Well, it's because we're given more time that we need, because we have all these heroes and they're all doing things that are important and not just fucking around. And there's not a random, you know, pissing contest in the middle where like Flash goes one way, Superman goes the other, and saves a whole building. Is like, haha, Barry, bitch. It's like, oh, sorry, I'm not freaking the Superman. I just run fast, you bitch.
And then finally we go into the epilogue.
a father twice over.
We get some really
Which,
good
if-
setups and teases for like what's to come.
Movies we're never gonna see.
True. But it expands the universe.
Honestly, the Batman tease at the end was probably like the worst part
biggest-
for me.
Honestly, it's for me. It's that one, and then it's like because it teases the Batman. We get a little bit of an Injustice tease,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Nightmare World.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just watching it makes me kind of melancholy
Yeah.
because it's just seeing all these things that we could have had things gone better, and Joss Whedon not ruined everything, and Warner Brothers not been dicks, and they've been like, you know what, take time with your family, finish it when you get back, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
This was
and
also
like-
like the epilogue was almost like 4 or 5 or 6 like end cutscenes for a movie, just like put together. It's like if you had 5 different movies with one of these scenes at each of them, you know. But instead they're just like, which is like, you know, nice because you get, it's a pretty good decent ending. You get all these kind of like tied loose ends, but then the loose ends have more, you know, like open up to more things, but like it's not rushed.
Makes
At
me
least
wonder. I just wonder if Jared Leto would have actually ended up being a good Joker, at least for the universe,
Yeah.
yeah.
had he been given more than like 10 minutes of screen time. And
I do think he did good in
I-
what we did get.
Enjoyed this scene of him, which
Mhm.
I have not enjoyed his rendition in the Suicide Squad movies.
Yeah.
And
I
I don't
like to
know if it was
imagine-
the makeup or it was the other actors or
I
if
think
it,
it was
I don't
everything.
know. But his laugh was
It's kind of
really good.
everything.
Like the first time we hear the laugh, I'm like, "Oh. Hold on.
I like to imagine.
Was that a good
Justice
Joker
League-
laugh?" Wait.
I feel like Justice League 2 would have been a good ending. Like, had they done a Justice League 2, the ending would be they're in Nightmare World, everything just started, and Batman has to go to Arkham to grab the Joker and be like, motherfucker, man. I gotta grab this bitch.
Also, Batman swore.
That was that was so satisfying.
It was so satisfying. I was like, "Oh,
I
this is
will
what we've been waiting for
fucking kill
4
you.
hours." Is that one F-bomb? Yeah.
Not any of that other shit. He drops an F-bomb, and that's all we need.
That's all we needed. And then we have Martian Manhunter coming to say howdy to Batman. Also, this
Howdy, Batman.
is the smallest house Bruce Wayne has ever owned, and I don't think he's
I don't
coping.
even know if it's his house. I feel like it's just like a sub house. Actually, you know what? It probably is his house because the mansion's burned down.
Yeah.
Well, and then I
And
was
decrepit
thinking
because we see it at
they
the end.
pull
Well,
out
it's-
and you see the lake, and I'm just like underneath the lake is just the
Yeah.
Batcave. Like his house is just this teeny tiny thing, and then it's just like you could just imagine like miles beneath. There's just so much stuff underneath, but yeah.
And how did he hide that from everybody?
Under a
I'm
lake.
rich.
Hey, I need you to build me a giant opening door in the middle of my lake.
Alfred did it. With
Alfred
magic.
rich.
fucking did it.
Or he just dug a big ass hole and then filled it with water.
There you go.
No, the
Made
hole
a
is a
lake.
crater left over from the battle. And
The
they
water's
Yeah, sure.
it's an illusion.
it's
It's a hologram.
gosh.
It's not real. There is no water.
I also noticed that Steppenwolf had 7 fingers on one of his hands.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was
I noticed that too. He's an alien.
I also thought to myself, where's Wonder Woman's eagle armor? What the
Ah,
hell's up with that? She had full body armor. Now she's walking around in basically like a tankini.
But
Yeah.
well, I mean, like, if you want to like talk about it in canon, like Wonder Woman 84 doesn't like actually apply to this movie.
yeah, which
Technically,
is
no.
Technically, no, but I see what you're saying.
yeah.
I was just thinking larger picture. It doesn't really matter,
Nothing.
but that's the
matters.
problem with prequels. Is if you put something in there and it hasn't already showed up, you're like, where is it now?
Yeah.
Overall, it's a very, very different movie than the Whedon cut,
Yeah.
which is shorter, faster, funnier, worse. And Joss Whedon's a bad person.
yeah, and
Yes.
like comparatively, you were saying that this movie actually moves at a really nice pace, kind of thing. Which like Whedon's just feels rushed. What like I said, a very terrible like or book to movie adaptation. Like it just feels like they just didn't have time for anything. Which obviously, then when you add 2 more hours, you do get time for some of those things. But it's nice to
Feels like he
actually
doesn't
have
care.
those things, and to take the time to have those things, and to care about having, that extra
It's sort of-
depth.
It just feels like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Or he was only told to do, or like they pulled him in and were like, shoot some jokes, make it fast, get the fuck out.
Well,
of here.
and
Yeah,
then
well, 'cause-
and then like that, the cut seems very rushed, but so long to get through. Whereas for this one, I didn't feel like it was terribly long to get through, despite being 4 hours. Like it's like
yeah, I agree with that. I didn't think it was like it was long, and I definitely had my moments of stretching. Like, oh man, it's been sitting here for like 2.5 hours. I still got an hour and a half to go. But I didn't think like the pacing of the movie was
Yeah.
bad by any means.
yeah.
I do know like originally Whedon was just supposed to oversee the post production, because I'm pretty sure they were like done with the film except for maybe like a scene or two, minus the added nightmare scene with the Snyder cut. So, and I think the quote was like he watched what they had and he was like, "This is so unwatchable. I need to fix it." And then obviously he just fucked it up. But
Yeah, but Joss, you're not making your movie, pal.
yeah.
You're making a Zack Snyder film.
Yep.
Does it say Joss Whedon here? No, it fucking doesn't.
Oh wow.
It also just feels sort of disrespectful. I recognize why they gave Zack Snyder credit for directing it and Joss Whedon only a screen credit, because he mostly changed the story. But I also feel sort of disrespectful to Zack Snyder to put his name as director.
It's like
when he
you can have
didn't
two
really do
directors
it.
on a movie. It's okay to put two
Or like
names.
just his name.
I
Yeah.
don't remember the guy who wrote the Justice League script, the original Zack Snyder's Justice League script, but he did say like when he's
Chris Torrero?
I think so. Yeah, when the movie came out, whenever he saw the Whedon cut, he was like he like called his agent, was like, can you like get my name removed from this movie, please?"
Oh shit! That's how you know
get
it's That's how you know it's bad.
Yeah.
Yikes! Yikes!
All in all, good movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts we want to share that we haven't already?
I mean, I would also say for having to go back in and do a lot of reshoots and like basically refilming a lot of it, like it's consistent. It's consistent throughout the whole cut of Snyder's cut. It's like they were able to make it all come together really nicely.
I just want to know where my Justice League movie is. Where's my Nightmare Justice League? Where's my Ben Affleck solo Batman movie? Oh, right. They're in the trash.
We
DC,
want more
you
J.K.
bitches.
Simmons.
What the hashtag I think it was like hashtag restore
Restore the
Batflack.
Snyderverse?
No, it was like hashtag restore
restore Batflack?
Batflack, or like bring Batflack back. Something like that was trending on Twitter like just a couple of days ago.
Well, he's coming back in Flash, so
That-
that
yeah.
gives me slightly more hope. But also, it probably won't end up happening.
Just give Snyder a few $1 million, every couple of years. Let him just finish it out. Like at this point, people are just gonna want to watch it. Like they're gonna make money off of it. Just don't give him the insane budget that they've been giving him.
Yeah.
Yeah, give him less of a budget. I'm sure it'll still turn out pretty good.
Yeah. And even if it doesn't turn out pretty good, at least we'll be satisfied.
Yes. Actually, I think I saw something about him turning them into motion comics.
Oh, I'd be
Ooh.
The
down
ones
for
he didn't
that.
make, so
I'd
That
be
would
down
be
for
cool.
we might be getting something for it.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah. Well, I think that's a pretty good we did it. We went through all of it.
Mm-hmm.
We sure did.
We sure
And we didn't take 4 hours.
We sure did. But you know what we haven't done yet? Random topic time.
Random topic time.
Are you ready, Jordan? It could be anything.
Sure.
What does a dog's butt smell like?
Favorite. Oh, Hold on. It's stuck to itself. Hold on. Stand by. Please stand by. Okay. Favorite meme.
Favorite meme? That's a tough one. I don't know a lot of memes.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say I'm not well versed in memes. I always enjoyed the sassy Willy Wonka or whatever that one was called, but whatever the Willy Wonka one was with Gene Kelly.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. See, I don't know any of their
No.
names, but also
only-
the
That's probably what
dog,
it's called.
the dog in the house that's on fire.
Oh, I like the Kermit one.
Kermit.
The Me Kermit one.
Yeah.
I guess.
Those are good ones.
I guess you guys know the surprise Pikachu. You can't see.
Yeah. Surprise Pikachu. I do
Surprise
know that.
Pikachu. I guess I'd say that. I'm sure there's something else.
It's
I
a
can't
pretty
think
good
of,
one.
but
No, it's
yeah.
a pretty good one. All right, I have another one. Work horror stories.
Work or
Oh, I have a good
be
one.
here for another hour.
I know, right? Give us a.
I'll make mine quick.
Okay.
When I worked at Burlington Coat Factory, I had to clean a opened shitty diaper out of a cart.
Oh, that's fun.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I was pretty happy about the whole thing, really. There was shit all over the cart. It was so gross.
Oh no.
I've been trying to just block work out of my mind lately.
I
so
mean,
it's
We
hard.
had 2.5 gallons of paint spill across our sales floor, which took a good
Ooh.
hour to clean.
I do remember
was fun.
this one time. I don't know if do you guys remember the like gallon milk trend that people were doing
Oh my
years
gosh.
ago? I was at work late one night and I just walked down an aisle and all of a sudden there's like 5 just exploded on the ground.
Like someone
I was
had
like, "Oh."
thrown them? To
Yeah,
do the
no,
thing?
yeah, somebody threw them. There was 5 on the ground. I was like, "Oh, cool."
People need to get
guess
fined
I got to
for
clean
doing
it up.
that. Yeah, like what the heck? Or like they should be in charge of cleaning it up. Don't make the look, as someone who's also worked at a grocery store, don't make the employees do that shit. Please.
PSA, don't be a fucking asshole.
Don't be an asshole unless you have good reason for it. Then
Yes.
be an asshole.
Wield your assholiness for good, never for evil.
Oh my gosh.
Don't be an asshole to make someone else's life miserable. Be an asshole to make someone's life better.
Yeah.
No,
well,
that works.
thank you, Jordan, for coming
think
on
about it.
and talking to us for a long time about.
Thank you for having me. I'm
more superheroes.
always,
Mhm.
We
always
appreciate
happy
it.
to come
We
back.
love having you and talking all the nerdy things.
Well, I love you guys.
Oh, I love you too, Jordan.
Don't make this weird.
Okay, Gavin. Whatever.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate you.
Yes, you listener.
And have a great week.
Have a good week.
Bye.
We'll see you later.
Don't be drugs.
And don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us.
Do it.
Bye.